Hi, I'm April. I am a singer-songwriter and music teacher, and today we're going to be talking about consistency in your songwriting. And more specifically, we're going to be talking about how to write a song every day. So it's officially the second week of October, which means that my schedule has finally entered some semblance of normalcy. So it is the perfect opportunity to completely overwhelm myself by doing a songwriting challenge, which means that I'm going to be writing a song every single day for the next 2 weeks. I've done a fair few of these kinds of challenges before, and I thought it would be a really fun opportunity to take you along with me on this journey and give you a few tips for staying consistent while I'm at it. So without further ado, here are my 5 tips for staying consistent with your songwriting. When you leave everything up to inspiration, it's really easy to get stuck, so I recommend starting with a writing prompt or a specific challenge. If you decide one day to veer off the track and write something completely different from whatever the prompt was, that's awesome. But I think that writing prompts and challenges are a great way to get started. Basically, it's easier to start if you have a starting point. So having a writing prompt can save you tons of time thinking about, oh my gosh, what on earth am I gonna write? For this particular challenge, I'll be using a 14-day lyric writing challenge by a YouTuber named the Songwriter Coach. For me, 14 days is the perfect amount of time because it's not too much of a commitment, but it also feels like something that will be a challenge. I did this particular challenge once before, like early on in the quarantine times. And I think it gives the perfect amount of structure while still leaving a lot up to your creativity. So if you happen to want to do this challenge along with me or way after the fact, which is also great, I'm going to leave a link in the description below. In the past, I found that my number one downfall with songwriting challenges was always that I felt like I didn't have enough time. Songwriting can be a really time-consuming process, and it can be really difficult to find places to put it in your schedule. So what I like to do is set an alarm for the same exact specific time every single day. That way I know that I am sufficiently caffeinated, but I also know that I'm not going to be totally burnt out from a full day of working. You might find that that time is completely different for you. You might prefer waking up super early and just going for it, or you might prefer a time that's right before bed. There's no wrong answer because it's just whatever fits into your life the best. Once you have a specific time in your day and you have an alarm that's set for that specific time, you can also start setting a timer. I like to set my timer for 45 minutes, but if you choose 30 or if you choose an hour, that's totally fine too. Again, it's whatever fits best into your life. For me, 45 minutes does not feel overwhelming, and it doesn't feel like too much time to take out of my day. But it also feels like I can finish a song in that time. Again, there's no wrong answer as long as it fits into your life. Now here's the thing. You might not actually finish your song in that amount of time, and that's okay. The more you practice diving in and writing in a really short amount of time, the faster your process is going to get. You're gonna find that your songwriting process actually goes a lot faster, because you're going to be digging for the gold right off the bat, as opposed to kind of trying a few things, deleting a few things, and trying a few other things. Now, you can always go back and finish your song later, but I want you to try to not go over the time by more than 10 minutes. Having a time limit is really valuable because it allows you to not get intimidated by this enormous block of time that you're taking out of your schedule. If you keep it to a manageable chunk, you're gonna be able to consistently use that amount of time every single day. Whereas if you keep pushing the boundary every single day, you're gonna realize that you actually need a lot more time than the amount that you're allotting for yourself. And that's gonna get really frustrating in the long term. If coming up with ideas is the hardest part for you, listen to the prompt the day before. That way you can kind of let it marinate in your brain for a little while, and by the time you actually sit down to write, you'll already have some things bouncing around in your head. Of course, you don't have to keep this system up forever unless it works really well for you, in which case, go for it. But if it doesn't work for you long term, that's okay. I think it's especially helpful for getting through a specific challenge like this one. So at this point, you have a specific prompt or challenge, and you have a specific time and time frame to work within. But what if you get a burning desire to write and it's the middle of the day and not your designated songwriting time? I personally just take a lot of notes. So if I come up with a clever lyric idea or a chord progression, or if there's just something that I really feel like writing a song about, I just jot down a quick note in my phone, that way I don't forget that I had the idea, and then I move on with my day and don't think about it until I get to my next songwriting session. If you come up with a melodic idea, you can just use the voice memos app on your phone to record something really quick and then put it away for later. And at this point, you will notice that you start accumulating a huge list of ideas, which means that during your next designated songwriting time, you'll have a lot of things that you can pull from and a lot of ideas that you can start working with. One of the biggest struggles that I see with new songwriters is perfectionism. And perfectionism sounds like it would be a really good thing, but it's not. Because most perfectionists find that if they don't do something perfectly the first time, it's not worth doing and it should just be thrown out. Since you're only giving yourself a short amount of time every day, that time is precious. If you write a first line and delete it, and then write another first line and delete it, you're gonna have 20 deleted song ideas and no actual song. So I know it's hard and you're gonna be like, ugh, this sucks. But do your best to stick with your first idea and don't let your inner critic sabotage all of the good work you're doing. So what happens if you hit the snooze button on your alarm? Or if your work schedule gets to be kind of crazy and you find that you don't actually have that extra 30 minutes in your day? So you miss one day. Do not stop writing. If you quit now, you're falling prey to the logical fallacy that imperfection equals failure, which is just not true. So as an example, let's say that you want to be a vegetarian, but let's say it's day 4, day 5 of your vegetarianism, and you accidentally eat some soup with chicken broth in it. Or let's say you give in to temptation and you eat that awesome looking burger. Does this mean you can't be a vegetarian anymore? No, absolutely not. All it means is that you didn't do the thing you wanted to do in one moment, and you can just go right back into it the next day. But if you decide at that moment, I'm just gonna eat meat forever again, your reasons for wanting to be a vegetarian don't just magically disappear, they're still there. You've just given up on the thing you wanted. So the same thing goes for songwriting. Remember that you are doing this challenge because you want to be a better writer, and because you want to write more songs. So yeah, you missed day 6, because maybe you were tired or maybe you didn't feel like it, but on day 7, start right back where you were. You might find that you have to shorten the amount of time that you're spending every day on your writing, and that's okay. You can change the settings on that timer. Be kind to yourself, be flexible, and if you make a mistake or you find that you don't feel like doing it one day, that's okay. You're still a valid songwriter. Nothing you're gonna do is going to reverse the progress you've made. Just start the next day where you left off, and remember why you started it in the first place. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure to leave a like. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. Are you going to do a 14-day challenge? Are you going to do a 7-day challenge? Let me know what parameters you're going to set for yourself. And again, if you want to write along with me, I'm going to be using the Songwriter Coach's 14-day lyric writing challenge. Also, subscribe, ring the bell, do the stuff. You know the drill.